Hey, Dalen and Mike, it's Max. I just wanted to do a quick analysis on Pinion. So, first thing I do is I go to public records so that I can remind myself of the square footage, the beds, the baths, some of the vital statistics of the house. If I scroll too quickly, you can hit pause and look at that. You got 2.5 acres approximately out there, built in 1980, uh, triplex. It's weird. They're calling it a duplex triplex. I don't get that. But whatever. It's I don't know. I was gonna. Yeah, it's Elbert County, so we'll just give that to them. So then I go to the MLS and I do a quick search. And so with these acreage properties, they're just unique in themselves. You know, it's not like Highlands Ranch where they have the same exact model every fourth house or anything. So I had to bust it out and do a little bit larger of a geographic search. And so this is where most of the properties came up. So the red dot is Pinion, and these are the comps. So they're in Ponderosa Park, a little bit closer to civilization, and you know that could be a good or a bad thing. But these are the comps I pulled up uh, for the house. So there was this one in Elizabeth. Let me see which one that was. Hill Hillside Court. Um, this other one I looked at it as a comp on Sable Ridge, and we'll look at these individual comps, not all of them, just a couple of them, in a little bit later. So anyway, I take the stats and then I roll them into my own spreadsheet so I can find averages and uh, manipulate, not necessarily change, but you know, uh, break it up into actives and solds and all of that. So this is 6 months in that 5 mile radius around Pinion, and there's right now there's two that are currently active that are comparable. Again, you know, there's a lot of houses that are currently active in that area, but some big old houses and you know different houses, lots of them ranches. And I wasn't looking at ranch style houses, since this is a tri level. You really don't want to compare a tri level to a ranch. That was really one of the few criteria that I had in my search is don't look at ranches. Um, so on these actives, how do they compare to yours? On average, they have 4 bedrooms. Yours has three. You still have that unfinished basement, and a lot of these don't. So, 3 baths, that's what yours has. Very comparable in size and less than 100 square feet different. The finished square feet, that's going to be with your unfinished basement. This house is, 40 years old and it hasn't had a basement finish. That's pretty rare in a 40-year-old house that somebody doesn't finish a basement in that. And then as far as the total square footage available, yours is 160 square feet. Not very much different from the four that are comparable and active. And on average, these guys are currently asking 115. uh, we'll have to see what they get. You know, this one just came on the market today in Ponderosa Park Estates on Buttercup. Uh, anyway, the lot size is really very close. They're over 2 acre lots, and price per square feet total above grade, and those are those numbers. So if I go down here and I look at the solds are the ones that we can really, some of these guys up here might be pie in the sky. We don't know. But the solds are numbers that they actually got. So here's the prices that these actually got. And they average right around, right at 491. I was going to say right around $500,000. Beds, how does yours compared to the beds? On average, has one less bed. On average, has one more bath. Very comparable in above grade square footage. I think these comps are really good. The finish, again, since they're, these houses on average are 1978, 1980, right in there with yours, within 2 years of yours. Most of them have a finish in the basement, which is boosting this number here, the finished square foot. But the total square footage is right within 100 square feet of yours. Again, I think these are a good group of comps, and on average, they got right in that $500,000 range. Lot size, very similar, over 2 acres, and 2 months on the market. So I'm going to try and go quickly. We're looking at 500. If I go back to these, so we're looking at 500. Let's look at the ones that have sold the closest to 500 and see how they compare. This one on Remington Road. Let's look and see how this one compares to yours. This one is a pretty good comp. As far as the lay of the land, it's got that sloping. It looks to me, similar to yours. They got this really nice big building, but remember this one sold for 520. 520. And then I'm not sure. I don't think you can really see houses from yours, but you got this neighbor right here that they are building up against the lot, and you got that neighbor, and I can't remember how yours looks. But anyway, if we look at the house, nothing fancy on the outside. It's got a deck. It really looks very similar to yours. It reminds me of the big meadow with the stream down below that has the trees in it. Very comparable in the land. The big building is nice. The exterior looks pretty similar. The interior has some newer floors and nice paint, but the tile is original, 1980s tile and 1980s cabinets and countertops and stuff. So I'm not seeing anything that is bells and whistles above what yours is. The question is what kind of condition is it going to be in after the guy leaves? Can a fresh coat of paint, bring it up to this level, or is there significant damage to the cabinets and stuff? The appliances, coil stoves, a white coil stove that has about a $300 value right there. Nothing, no big deal. So, there's nothing in here that is outstanding. The carpet looks good. It looks like linoleum in the bathroom. They fancied that up a little bit, but again, it's not $1,000 worth of work in this bathroom. That one's pretty nice. That shower's pretty nice, but nothing too exciting in this house. So that one sold for $520, and I think the difference, but like when I was saying, you guys are at 5 and this one's at 520, there's the 20 right there. This is the 20. This building, and it has concrete floor. That's the 20. So if we go back to the list and we look at, let me see, single line. If I look and I want to pull out the other one, let's see, that was Remington. There was this other one on Sable Ridge. So this one is not a sold, it's active, and it's a tri-level, and they're asking right at 500, let's say. Okay, let's see how this one on Sable Ridge looks that's active on the market. That one sold for 520. This one hasn't sold yet. And let's see how it compares. This one is kind of out on the plains. They've planted some, looks like willows. Those are garbage trees to me. And they planted and then there's a suffering aspen behind that tree. So pretty standard. Looks like a Richmond Homes out on the plains. Just telling you my opinion. It's not a ranch. You got to walk up to the stairs, and then they got this dog gate around. Oh, was that the dog? I got to go back. No, I thought that was the dog. So, right there shows you the amount of effort. There's a stump that's 17 and a half inches tall. Yeah, I don't know how tall it is, but they haven't gotten rid of it. It's a trip hazard. So this looks pretty nice on the inside, but again, it's paint and maybe some flooring, an original brass and glass light fixture, a real standard tri-level. They did put this flooring in that looks pretty nice, but I think it's printed flooring. It's Pergo. It's not real. Again, brass and glass light fixtures and brass and wood ceiling fans. You got two of them in that one room. Dated kitchen. So again, nothing that's bells and whistles above Pinon. It's $495. So I would say that the difference between the two is probably, Pinon, you really feel like you're more in the woods. You have natural trees. This one is in the plains. Let me go back to that and see if I have pictures of the exterior. You're in the plains. I can't even tell if I don't think that's mountain view there. If you had a mountain view, wouldn't you take a picture of it? A little less treed for sure than yours. This ceiling there's something funky going on there. That's concrete floor. So there's a concrete floor with a bed on it and this ceiling, this strange acoustic tile ceiling. So I don't know. That's weird. And then a dated bathroom maybe down in that basement, whatever it is. So I would say that they started at 505. They're at 495 right now. I think this supports yours at 5. I think that to have that nice sloping topography that yours has, and have I think some more trees around and just a little less exposed. I think that would be the difference there. So the other thing I wanted to look at is exactly this location of this one. This one is in Elizabeth, I believe, but it's a little bit maybe north of where Dalen is. So that's where that one, and it's a little bit north of Pinon. So anyway, those are the two comps. I think the comps on average, my grid supports the 500 price point. I think the comps that I just looked at 500, the ones that sold at 500, a little bit more, or one that's asking a little bit less, also support the $500,000 price point. So it looks like you got $100,000, let's say, of equity in that place over what you paid for. So anyway, hope that helps you out on that one. I'm still working on the Elizabeth property. Just based as a investment, people are looking for that 7% return on investment. So when you look at the amount of money that it generates, $24,000 a year in the income, how much would you pay to buy a machine that kicks out $24,000 a year? How much would you pay for that machine? And the one thing that's different from all of your rentals versus what an investor, the typical investor, is looking for, is the typical investor is looking for somebody else to manage the property. And I think that's also why you guys are considering getting rid of some of these properties, is because of the burden of managing those properties. So just strictly based on the income investment on the Main Street property in Elizabeth, the 341 Main, I'm looking at $350. If we could find somebody that had a vested interest. If they're looking for a location for their own business, maybe like that, sell it directly to the oil company. Maybe they would want to purchase it, and so to them it would have more value than just a place to park money to buy that machine that generates money. To them, it's a place for their business, which has more value. But based on strictly on an investment, it's looking like that one's about 350. So out of the three investment properties that you have, the Kiowa one I'm comfortable with at 500. The Elizabeth Main Street property, uh, selling in the open market just to a random investor that doesn't have any special interest in the property, is looking at 350. And the Pinon property, and again, I'm shooting from the hip. I'm just assuming that it's in average condition, that it isn't beat up. Dalen mentioned that it's always needed carpet, and it still needs carpet. So maybe with a little bit of a carpet redo, which probably could be done for uh, $3,000 to $5,000. You're looking at a $500,000 investment. So 5 in Kiowa, 5 on Pinon, 350 on Main Street.